Hello, I am Jennifer Adams, and today I am going to be walking you through our Parent Night presentation on the new elementary report card. What is standards-based grading and reporting? Why are more and more districts moving to this type of report card and philosophy? And what will the new report card look like in District 25? Currently, we are making a shift in standards. Prior to the past 10 years, the last time our state standards had been updated was the early 70s. The sheer number of standards that teachers were required to teach were so many that a researcher dug into if a teacher taught every single standard to our elementary students, how long would they have to be in school? The research showed us that students would have to be in school to their mid to late 20s to complete all of the elementary school standards. With that, teachers had no way to teach all of those standards, so they would pick and choose which standards to teach. At that point, that led to discrepancies between schools, between districts, and so on. About 10 years ago, new standards were written and aligned within each state, and at that point, the way the standards were written, they were written with more rigor, and they were written in a fashion that you could teach several standards with one activity. So really, we have narrowed our focus in what we are teaching. Districts have the opportunity to make decisions on how we implement the standards. We're given these state standards, we look at how our students perform, and then we make adjustments by implementing different curriculum in order to meet the expectations that we have in our district. So, standards-based grading and reporting is a change in mindset. We have all grown up with standard letter grades as ways of reporting, and now the shift is into skills and knowing if our students are meeting those skills or not. A traditional grade had many other factors put into the overall grade as opposed to standards-based grading, which is really a focus on the standards and content and separating some of those other options. It has taken us approximately 2 years to go through this study of a new report card and making some of these decisions and changes. And in doing so, when we were first getting started, we did reach out to several of our surrounding districts to see where they were in their report card journey. And of the districts we reached out to, almost all of them were either already standards-based grading and reporting or were in the process of making that change. Prior to this year, we had 3 elementary report cards. We had a kindergarten report card, our primary report card, which was for grades 1 and 2, and then our intermediate report card, which was for grades 3, 4, and 5. Within our kindergarten and primary report card, our academic indicators were BDI, beginning, developing, and independent, while our intermediate report card for 3rd through 5th were traditional letter grades A, B, C, D, F. I'd mentioned a little earlier that we had a committee that was working on this shift to standards-based grading and reporting, but we actually have had several. We had a large committee that was working on philosophy, structure, and really digging into research. We had another group of teachers across different grade levels who would come in and study the standards and help make decisions on what should be on the report card. And then we also had a parent group that we were able to collect feedback from and show them the new report card. Many administrators were involved in several of these different groups as well. So what is standards-based grading and reporting? As teachers, we are given the Illinois Learning Standards, and as you can see from these 2 examples, I have a math standard and a reading standard available. They are written as such that they are end-of-the-year goals, and we use this information to help guide our instruction. Standards-based grading and reporting splits standards, or our content area, from what it means to be a student or student skills. So on this chart, you'll see on the left-hand side, we have our standards: reading, writing, social studies, art, music, PE, all of our content areas. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see our student skills, things that we value and feel are important for our students, and we want to be able to communicate that information with you. The committee started off our work with determining the purpose of our new report card. The purpose is so valuable and important to us that it will be printed at the top of every report card. The purpose focuses on how we are splitting academic achievement from student skills based on our district's grade level learning expectations. We also feel it's important to note that students have opportunity for self-evaluation and reflection when looking through their report card. So why are districts moving to this type of report card and philosophy? Here you can see on this chart that we have our typical letter grading scale. You have A, B, C, D, and F, and that's 5 levels of reporting, where 4 of them are passing and 1 of them is failure. However, when we calculate percentages in the second part of this graphic, you'll see that a passing grade is really 25%, and then we have 70 levels of failure. 75. We have so many levels of failure, so many ways that a child could end up not meeting. So let's go a little bit further and take a look at this example. Here I've listed 3 students who have taken several quizzes throughout Chapter 2 in math: Cheryl, Kayla, and Derek. If we are using traditional letter grades, this is how their grades would shake out. Cheryl, who started off strong, had a little bit of a dip in quiz 3 and 4, and then ended up doing okay on quiz 5. If we take an average of her grades, she will be receiving a D. Kayla, who struggled in the beginning and then made some good progress and really showed what she knew, would end up with a B-. And Derek, who started off quiz 1 with a 0, we don't know why, but he got a 0. Then the last 4 quizzes he received 85s. Because in a traditional system we would average these grades, he would be receiving a D. Is this really accurate in reflecting what Derek knows within the content in this chapter? I don't think so. So other factors that used to be a part of grades could be things like bringing in extras, like a Kleenex box, doing some extra credit work, maybe turning in a permission slip on time. Class participation and effort all got wrapped up into one overall content grade that doesn't necessarily show anybody what they know about the content. When you get a minute, please take a chance and the time to watch this standards-based grading overview video. It's about 3 minutes long. What does our new report card look like? First, we will talk a minute about the academic indicators. We have 3 different levels of performance within our content areas. Meeting standard, which means our students are demonstrating a thorough understanding of the standard and are able to apply it independently. Developing towards standard, student has a partial understanding of the standard and can sometimes apply the skills that they have learned. And does not meet standard. The student does not independently demonstrate an understanding of the standard and is not applying those skills. The last item in this chart is a gray box indicating standard was not assessed, and I'll be able to point that out to you in just a few slides. For our student skills are also 3 different levels of performance, but they're slightly different from the academic code. The first skill is regularly, meaning the student can consistently demonstrate that skill. Occasionally, students are sometimes demonstrating the skill, and not at this time, students are not independently demonstrating the skill at this time. So just not yet, and we're continuing to work on it. Once again, just a reminder that our student skills are our items on the right, what it means to be a student, following directions, group work, organization. And then on the left-hand side, you're going to see our content standards, and those are going to be graded within that academic code. Here's an example of a 4th grade report card. You will have student name on the top left, followed by the purpose statement. And to the right of the purpose statement, you will see the academic code, which is the levels of performance. Below those, you will see our content areas: reading, writing, speaking and listening, and social studies. Here's where you will start to see these gray boxes indicating the standard was not assessed. So what that means is, within that particular trimester, we did not focus on that standard, and we're not giving the student a grade. It could also mean that the skill we had talked about in a previous standard and felt at that time of the year all students should have mastered that skill, and we will no longer be addressing it on the report card. However, if a student has not met standard within that skill and we're not assessing it anymore for the report card, teachers are still going to be working with those students in order to continue to move them towards meeting standard within that skill. The second page has more of our content areas, math and science, and it also has our specials areas, PE, music, and art. All grade levels will be receiving PE, music, and art grades, and they will be graded exactly the same as our academic code, meaning meets standard, developing towards standard, and does not meet standard. Our third and final page has our student skills and the student skills code. There are 5 student skills that all of our students K-5 will be assessed on. Finally, at the bottom of the page, you'll see an area for comments for trimester 1, 2, and 3. Our teachers felt it was very important that we continued to have an opportunity to write some comments, what we call our narrative, in order to communicate some more information to parents. As a parent, you may be thinking, how am I going to figure out what this report card actually means? Well, we have provided some additional resources for you on our district website. This document is called a supporting document, and there's one for every grade level, including our advanced math students as well. So what you will see here, if you're looking at it from left to right, is you will see the reporting standard in the first column. The second column is a definition giving you a more in-depth description of what the reporting standard means. And then you'll see 3 additional columns: the evidence and what it means to meet standard for this particular reporting standard, what it means to be developing towards standard, and what it means to fall in the does not meet standard category. The reason we're giving you this information is because we have benchmarked our standards, meaning all of the standards on the report card are written as end-of-year goals. But for example, let's take kindergarten. Kindergarten math standard is to be able to count to 100 by ones and tens. In trimester 1, our expectations are not for kindergartners to be able to count to 100 by ones and tens. Our expectation is that they can count to 20 by ones. So if your child is a kindergartner and can count to 20 in the end of the first trimester, they will be meeting standard for that trimester. And then in trimester 2, the benchmark becomes higher. They need to be able to count to 60 by ones and tens. So if your child can count to 60, they would be meeting in trimester 2. However, if they could only count to 40, then they might be in the developing category. So grades can shift from trimester to trimester depending on how the expectations have shifted. This supporting document will lay out all of that information for you if you choose to access it on the district website. We also had several student considerations for our other types of learners. We have our advanced math students, and their report card will look slightly different. A 4th grade advanced math student will receive a report card, and in the math section it will say advanced math, and those standards listed will be the 5th grade learning standards because those are the standards they're working on in their advanced math class. Our 5th grade advanced math students will have advanced math on their report card as well, but the reporting standards listed will be 6th grade standards because those are the standards they're working on in class. Our special education students will be graded to grade level standards like all of our students, and full well knowing that our special education students will be receiving IEP goal updates at the same time as they receive the report card. So there will be additional information coming home on how they're doing within their goals. Our English learner students who go to English learner resource classes will also be graded to grade level standards, and they will be receiving an English language development report along with their report card. There were several design considerations to take into account when we were designing our new report card. Our teachers were very supportive and excited to keep our report card as 3 reporting trimesters. We felt it important that all subjects and all elementary grade levels were following the same report card philosophy. The report card will be delivered home electronically starting this year. And then finally, we are just starting a middle school exploration committee to see what standards-based could potentially look like at the middle school. So where can you find some of this information that I've highlighted for you today in this presentation? You can find it on our district website. Once you have arrived at our district website, which is sd25.org, you will please click the departments header, and once you've clicked that, you will scroll down into student learning. On the student learning page, you will see on the left menu bar, the 3rd link down is elementary report card. Once you click into elementary report card, there are several different links on the right-hand side. You will see general resources. There will be an area for grade level resources, and that's where you can find these supporting documents that give you more information about the report card. And then finally, there's another section for grade level report cards, which is a link to all of our current report cards. In one of our general resources link, there is a parent handbook for standards-based grading and reporting. You will find much of the pertinent information that I have talked about in this presentation within this handbook. Finally, after you've reviewed the parent handbook, and if you have any other questions or concerns that you would wish to have answered, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm Jennifer Adams, or Dr. Eric Olson, who's our Assistant Superintendent of Student Learning. You'll find our contact information as our final slide on this presentation. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful day.